Welcome to Learning Math with Mr. Tan. Today we'll be looking at how to shape Venn diagram, and particularly we'll be looking at how do you deal with union, intersection and complement of sets. Alright, so we'll be looking at the simplest example, which is A union B, and as you know, A union B means I'm taking elements in A and elements in B, removing the repetition and forming A union B. So over here I have this rectangular box that represents the universal set, two oval shaped region that represents A and B, and what I'm going to do next is to put a tick for region that represents elements that can be found in set A. So I have this and this. Alright, next I'll do the same for region for B, this and this, and I notice that this region actually has two ticks, but not to worry, this simply means the repetition. Alright, so next, do remember that for union, I'm going to shade any region, alright, with one or two ticks. Alright, so that means I'm going to ignore the regions without any ticks. So what I'm going to do is to shade this, alright, and all the way up to here. Alright, everything here has a tick. So if you're particular, do use a ruler to do a better job than I am on my Wacom writing device. Okay, so this represents the region for A union B. So the next example, I'll be talking about what do you do for A intersect B. So let's say I'm going to shape the region that represents A intersect B, and A intersect B simply means the repetition, alright, between these two sets. Okay, so that means I'm actually looking at this region. So that means for intersection, what I need to do is to shape any region with two ticks. Alright, I cannot shade any region with just one tick. There is no repetition. So what I'm going to do is to shade only this region. You can leave the ticks there, that's fine. Alright, just make sure that you shade it correctly. Okay, so just to be a bit more complete and clearer. Alright, so that's for A union B and A intersect B. So now we'll be looking at situations that involve complement of sets. So A complement simply means I'm looking for elements that are not found in the set A. Alright, so in terms of putting a tick, that means I'm actually putting in regions that are not in A. So here it is in A, I'm not going to put a tick, as well as for this part of the Venn diagram. So I'm going to put a tick for here, as well as here. Then next what I'm going to do is to put a tick for regions in B. Alright, and remember that intersection means I am actually shading regions with two ticks. So I am actually shading this region only. Alright, so what if it becomes a union? The same rule applies from the previous part of the video. For union, I need to shade regions where you can find a tick. So if this becomes union, then this will also be shaded, as well as the region that is outside. It will also be shaded because you can actually find a tick in these regions. Okay, so I'm not doing a really good job at shading, and you just kind of get the idea what I'm trying to do over here. So next I'm going to be talking about a slightly more tricky situation. So let's see what that means for us. So this slightly more complicated situation is where I actually have a complement outside this whole thing of A union B complement. So it is A union B complement with another complement. So how do you deal with that? First of all, I'm going to analyze the situation for this first. Okay, so I'm going to proceed as per normal. The same thing applies. I'm going to put a tick for region with A. Alright, and the region for B complement, which means the region that is outside of B. So I have this and this. So bear in mind, this complement simply means to negate whatever that is inside. So for union, I'm actually shading, alright, shading a region with ticks. One or two ticks, which means if I negate, then this means overall I am actually going to shade regions with 0 ticks. Okay, so that leaves with us only this region. Okay, so what happens if this becomes intersection? So now we have an intersection between these two, and that means it's the same thing. Intersection means I'm shading regions with 2 ticks. Alright, so I'm only going to be looking at this part first. Alright, and intersection means I'm shading regions with 2 ticks. And to consider the negation, which is this complement, means I'm actually shading regions with 0 or 1 ticks. Okay, so that means I'm actually shading this region, and any region with 1 or 0 ticks. So basically that means I'm actually ignoring these regions with 2 ticks. Okay, and that's it. So I hope that pretty much covers all there is about shading Venn diagram. So things can get more complicated, but I can't be really very complete in going through all these things. But the general concepts actually revolve around what I've covered in this video. So I hope it helps you. So if this video has helped you, please give me a like. If you feel that my channel is helping you in maths or can help others in maths, do give me some encouragement by subscribing or leaving a comment below. Thank you and goodbye.